farm. You get to a certain point, it's like, hey, that's our life.
What did you think when your dad and Caryn got engaged?
I didn't reply. I don't want to talk about it. I just don't want to talk about my dad's engagement.
I will work on that. That'll be a raffle ticket, just so that they know, and how many silent auction items we have.
Being that my nature is to plan events, it's going to take a little extra effort for me to just let it go.
Audrey and her followers often advocate for home birth, but personally, it's not my preference. While I understand its significance to some, my priority is always the safety of both mother and baby. I've witnessed the tragic consequences of unexpected home births gone wrong. So for me, safety outweighs any desire for a specific birth experience. It's astounding how, despite centuries of childbirth being perilous for countless women and infants worldwide, we've made significant medical strides in providing life-saving care. Yet, some still opt for home births. The urgency of potentially life-threatening situations during childbirth can't be overstated. The privilege of a safe delivery often obscures the stark reality that it isn't guaranteed for everyone. It's perplexing why anyone would willingly take such risks. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Red Bee, it's me ELENA. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. So let's dive into today's video. On the other hand, Chris is setting off major alarm bells for me. The way he smiles while Amy discusses the potential health complications of her dwarfism, and his dismissive attitude towards it, makes me uneasy. It feels like he may have considered these scenarios before, perhaps even factoring them into his decision to marry her for less than honorable reasons, like financial gain. It's disturbing to think he might even contemplate accelerating Amy's health issues for personal benefit. Though, I acknowledge that I might be letting my imagination run wild from watching too many crime documentaries. Nevertheless, his behavior, particularly bonding with Matt over their shared frustrations with Amy, only adds to my discomfort. Initially, I disliked Chris and found him sketchy, but then I started to believe he was a decent guy and had judged him too harshly. However, now I'm back to thinking he's sketchy again. His excitement during their awkward group outings and his fraternal bond with Matt just don't sit right with me. I distinctly recall how eager he was to meet Matt for the first time, which only adds to my suspicions. Chris's demeanor is just so peculiar. I've always had this uneasy feeling about Chris since day one. Didn't she mention once that he was an introvert? Or was it something else that just didn't sit right with me? I've never quite understood why he's so eager to work on the farm and cozy up to Matt. If something were to happen to Matt tomorrow, Chris wouldn't inherit any money or the farm. It just strikes me as odd. As for Amy, she can come across as gruff at times, but I think it's understandable given the immense responsibilities she's managing: Matt, the farm, her disability, and her kids and grandkids. It's like she's had to develop this tough exterior to cope. I'm not a fan of her blonde friend, but I do like the brown-haired one. It seems like Amy adapts her personality depending on who she's with, and that really gets under my skin. However, I typically side with Amy and understand how Matt's actions have negatively impacted her life. But her insistence on those chocolate croissants was just too much. I found myself secretly hoping Che-Ching would stand up to her. Che-Ching clearly expressed that she didn't want a second croissant, yet Amy practically pressured her into finishing it. It was absurd. It's one thing to be generous, but, well, that situation just rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, I would have accepted it, but I'm not big on sweets, and there's no way I could have eaten 2 croissants just to be polite. I'm not exactly angry about it, but it did come off as a bit intense, to say the least. One of my favorite scenes is when Amy made those vegan meatballs, thinking no one would be able to tell the difference. And then, on Caryn's first bite, she immediately asks, "These are vegan, aren't they?" Additionally, as I rewatched the series, particularly Season 5 when Caryn first appears as a party planner for their home remodel event, then later taking over Becky's role at the pumpkin patch, I can't help but notice the dynamics at play. Now, in Season 9, Episode 9, The Statesman, I'm left pondering what a family therapist would make of all this. Watching Zach's team, coached by Amy, prepare for the DAA games in Ireland, I'm struck by the conversation between Matt and Caryn in his home office, which seems to have migrated to the barn for some reason. Caryn's remark about DAA being difficult to work with raises eyebrows. How long has she been involved with DAA given her own experiences as a little person? Then Matt's decision to take Zach's team independent, essentially making Amy look like a traitor in the eyes of the DAA board, adds another layer of tension. Meanwhile, Caryn seems to be wielding a pencil and clipboard in the main house, asserting authority over everyone. It's no wonder Zach and Amy question why Caryn is calling the shots in Amy's own home. The breaking point comes when Caryn dons Matt's jacket, prompting Amy's silent but evident frustration. If it were me, I'd likely have voiced my irritation more directly, perhaps along the lines of, "Caryn, don't you have your own family and responsibilities to attend to?" Caryn's behavior, especially her entitled demeanor when she storms out of Matt's office, speaks volumes. The look she gives Matt seems to convey a message of get rid of Amy sooner rather than later. I must commend Amy for her remarkable patience and kindness in handling the situation. I'm not sure I could have shown the same restraint. If it were me, I would have confronted Matt that very night, emphasizing how humiliating it was to step down from the board and witness an employee take over my own home. Caryn's dismissive attitude towards Amy, demonstrated by her lack of basic courtesy like saying hello or making eye contact, is telling. Her unwarranted involvement in selecting uniforms and designing a logo with Zach, Matt, and La Marty Kleppa is perplexing. After all, Amy is the coach, mother, and wife to the team. It's evident that this episode is pivotal, and it's worth rewatching it with a focus on Caryn's actions. There may be subtleties I missed. Amy's grace under pressure is commendable. She must have been devastated to see another woman proudly wearing her husband's jacket and essentially taking over her role in the family and home. And for all of this to unfold on a public platform must have been excruciating. It's baffling to me that anyone could still support Caryn after witnessing her behavior. Her claim of friendship with Amy seems hollow in light of the harm she's caused. How could she knowingly hurt a friend in such a blatant manner and expect everything to be fine? Amy's continued kindness towards Caryn, despite the destruction of her home and marriage, speaks volumes about her character. And while I'm amazed at her ability to remain composed, I can't help but wonder how she managed to bite her tongue and refrain from confronting Matt about the Caryn situation. If it were me, I'd be furious and demanding answers about why Caryn was attempting to usurp my position in the family and meddling in matters that jeopardized my role on the DAA board. Caryn's apparent power and influence within the family dynamic is indeed puzzling. It's disheartening that Matt didn't stand up for his wife's authority and seemingly went along with whatever Caryn suggested. The numerous trips where Matt either didn't attend or had to leave early due to farm business must have raised suspicions for Amy. It's difficult to comprehend why she didn't put up more of a fight, although perhaps by that point she had grown indifferent to Matt's actions. This period of time involving the DAA seems to have had a significant impact on Zach's current issues and his opinions of Caryn, particularly regarding how she treated Amy. Despite Zach's efforts to foster a positive relationship with them, especially for Jackson's sake, it appears that after the farm situation, he stopped trying altogether. Moreover, as I rewatch Season 8, it's evident that Matt begins to emotionally check out. His demeanor becomes noticeably meaner, more short-tempered, and less tolerant of Amy. This shift, coupled with constant references to divorce and being single, reflects behavior typical of someone who has emotionally moved on, especially with the introduction of Caryn on the show in Season 8, Episode 1. While the breakup isn't solely Matt's fault, Amy's frustration with his projects and occasional unkindness towards him are understandable given the circumstances. However, Caryn's presence likely served as a catalyst for Matt to start considering moving on from Amy. It's fair to acknowledge that many of Matt's projects were poorly managed and overpriced, often relying on the hard work of others to succeed. His abrasive manner only exacerbated the situation. Considering this, it's difficult to fault Amy for expressing frustration or being unkind, especially since it's not justification for cheating. The significant shift in Matt's behavior towards Amy, along with his increasing tendency to find excuses to work away from home, suggests a calculated plan orchestrated by Caryn from the beginning of their time on the farm. On the other hand, opinions among Little People Big World fans regarding Caryn Chandler are mixed, to say the least. While some viewers adore her, others hold less favorable opinions. Recently, there has been a wave of criticism directed at Caryn, particularly stemming from her initial appearance on the show. Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler are currently engaged, with plans for a wedding in 2024. Caryn has become an integral part of the Little People Big World community and the Roloff family, whether some fans are willing to acknowledge it or not. Caryn has often been a target for criticism among viewers. Many attribute her influence over Matt Roloff as a factor in the drama surrounding the sale of Roloff Farms, which ultimately led to a significant rift within the family. Fans were particularly vocal about Caryn's first appearance on the show, which occurred in Season 7, Episode 13. At that time, she visited the main house with her then-husband and children, while Amy and Matt Roloff were away in Hawaii. This episode reignited discussions and debates among fans about Caryn's role within the Roloff family and the show. One Little People Big World fan pointed out, just a few episodes before this, Matt left the family trip twice to go back and check on the pumpkins. Another commenter expressed strong anger, stating, "This makes me all kinds of angry. I hate a woman who sneaks into someone else's house with teenage boys while wearing a silk camisole shirt like a prostitute would. Man, I'd beat the crap out of her." A third commenter added sarcastically, "I always go check on my boss's kids wearing an orange camisole. Then I pretend to fall for the boss so I can have access to my favorite thing that's in my boss's pants, his wallet." However, not all LPBW fans hold such negative views towards Caryn Chandler. Before Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler began dating, she worked at Roloff Farms. Some find it questionable how their relationship evolved from employer-employee dynamic to an engagement. Nevertheless, over the years, some viewers have warmed up to Caryn. In recent scenes on Little People Big World, many fans felt Caryn Chandler showed genuine care towards Matt Roloff during his medical scare over his esophagus. They perceived her nurturing demeanor as a stark contrast to what Amy might have displayed. The LPBW fanbase remains divided when it comes to Caryn Chandler. Despite the controversy surrounding her, she has remained steadfast by Matt Roloff's side, for better or worse, and that loyalty does not go unnoticed by some. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.